Here we go.
I think it's there now. It says on Facebook.
Yay, we're on Facebook. Boom. So let me just refresh and then I can see comments if they're coming in.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well done. Wow, we're here. We're live. We're brilliant. Excellent. So, firstly, welcome to Mic Drop, Stasja. It's a pleasure having you on here. And the reason why I wanted you on the show is because you're excellent at email marketing. And my podcast is all about business, marketing, and mindset. And you're a great person, excellent, really great friend. And you are an expert in your field, absolutely expert in your field. But I want to get up close and get a bit of an introduction to the audience. Like, who are you, Stasja? Where are you from? And how did you get here? So the previous journey before you are where you are now.
So, yeah, not a lot of people know that, but I'm originally from Russia. Some people would guess that from my name, obviously, but I've been living in Denmark since I was 13 years old. So actually, most part of my life, I've been living in Denmark. I came to Denmark with nothing, to be honest. Like, I was 13 years old. I got told you have to pack. We're going to move to another country now. Came here with my mom. And yeah, so that was a weird experience to just like simply, and that was before Skype, it was before WhatsApp, Facebook, whatever. So basically I didn't even have an email at that point. I actually remember that now. I didn't even have an email. So I was writing letters, and sometimes I would even get like to call my friends and family in Russia. So that was really a weird experience. It was tough, I'm not going to lie.
Can imagine, definitely.
Yeah, and as well as landing in a super small community, like the town we were living in had like a couple of thousand people living there. And they were not used to foreign people actually being there. So they, like, my classmates had no idea how to talk to me, even though we all knew English, but they felt like super awkward about this.
Yeah.
So
did it take you time to learn the language?
It took me like to really learn it. It took me half a year before I could like speak it like fluently. Yeah. But it was not like I was learning it in the evenings. I would only watch Danish television when I watched television. Like, I remember I would watch a lot of cartoons because they're kind of easy to understand. And also those are the only ones that are actually in Danish, more or less, in Denmark. Because we don't do like the voiceover, we do subtitles. And I would.
Is that how you learn then, through the subtitles? Because you know a few languages, don't you? Obviously speaking English right now as well, you know.
I actually learned most of my languages through books. I remember I would borrow, like in the library, you could borrow a cassette, like a cassette.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for younger viewers or listeners. Probably have no idea what that is.
Yeah, a cassette.
Ask
what's
your
that?
Parents. Yeah, Google it.
Google. I don't even think Google has it. It's that old.
Yeah. So a cassette tape, and there's a book to it. So I would like put it in my ears, and I would like look into book as they were reading it aloud. So I was very self-taught, even though I did have some classes and everything, but yeah, teachers were not very attentive, and I learned so much that they would like sometimes like get back and say, hey, so you need to learn this. I'm like, dude, I already know this. But because they had to like present to the whole group. So yeah, I guess like at the age of 13, I kind of like took hold of everything and just took, because everything was kind of, like, so you have no, like, I was not asked if I want to move to Denmark. I was just like, now we're doing this. So I took the situation that I had no control over and said, okay, so what are the things I actually can have control over? Like, I can have control over, I got a job 3 months after I landed in Denmark with newspapers. So I had control over, I could like get some cash that were mine, that I did not have to ask anybody for that. I could learn the language faster than anybody else in this class. We had the language class and yeah, so I could like get good grades. Those were like three things I could get control over, whereas like the rest was kind of shaky, right? Yeah.
So would you say this kind of like primed your future business, because you didn't have control and you wanted to get control, and you're in a new place with a new language, and so you had to learn quickly and you had to learn to communicate with people. Do you think this might primed your future expertise in email marketing? Because it's all about communication, isn't it?
Definitely. I discovered how freaking important communication is for you, right? We cannot like people in my class would not speak to me unless I learned Danish, even though they could like speak English fine. The level of English in Denmark in schools is pretty high, and like we had English classes together, so obviously I knew they could speak English, but they just like decided not to. So yeah, I think that's because I love having control over things, also in my business. And for me, email marketing, just digital marketing, like overall, is the way to do that, because you can actually control a lot of factors in this type of business, in this type of marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's why I'm in marketing as well. I think every business needs a form of marketing, and the ones that are doing it seem to reap better results. It's very, very important that people realize the nurture that you need. And it's not just, I do a lot of chatbots, that's my sort of like niche, and the nurture is really important. And I mean, there's a lot of people that just throw stuff out there and it's not quite enough nurture. And I personally think that's really important. And some people claim that email's dead. I don't believe that, even though I'm into chatbots. I use both. I think it's really, 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 really important. I don't think there's a very powerful medium, and it's going very strong. In fact, most stuff now, big ticket stuff, is through email. It's that nurture that people have got on their list and so on. How did you find? We'll go back to the start of your life and so on like that. But just as we're on the subject, how did you find the changes with GDPR in email delivery, and how did that affect you? Because some people now have become second nature. They're not even caring about it. They're just pressing the check boxes. It's just become one of those. So, other people are, have said that it's not affected them one bit. Other people are saying it's affected them a lot because they're being reported as spam and stuff like that. I mean, how have you seen this pan out?
Honestly, I haven't really. Yes, GDPR is important, and you really have to make sure that that you follow the rules. But the clients I was working with, like for me, GDPR is just rules for normal ethical marketing. For me, it's nothing new, to be honest. Was the way I worked for a long time. This was the way my clients worked for a long time. My Danish clients had already done all that because it was basically the law in Denmark before the GDPR. So I don't really understand why people in Denmark got like so confused about that, because it was, like if you were doing it legally as it was, then you would do it right.
Right. Yeah.
And it's basically like about creating this winner relationship with your list, because you don't want to trick them to get on your list. You won't get any good results out of that. You don't want to spam people that don't want to hear from you. You don't want to have those people on your list anyways, because it's costing you money. So
yeah, of course. Yeah. Did you find the demographic different? I mean, like you obviously know a few languages. And do you, when you target with your email marketing, do you find the demographic different? Like people are different, the way they respond to stuff? Is it the same message, or, are people different in different areas? Because I know certain countries, there's a certain way to communicate, isn't there?
Yeah, and in Denmark, we are much more, for example, like messenger ads. People are still very, very careful about them in Denmark, because we are much more aware, because we already have such strict laws in terms of spam and cold emailing. It's basically illegal to mail someone. So if I have a business and you have a business and I like write to you hey, Michael, can you like, I love your business. Can we please like meet for a cup of coffee to discuss how I can help you with your email marketing? Let's just say that. If I write to you in Denmark, this from my from my private, no, from a business email to your business email to your company's email, it's basically like illegal.
Right. Wow.
The thing is, it's not legal for me to pick up a phone and do the same thing just on the phone, which is a little bit weird. But my point is, like, the laws are already very, very strict here. So be very, like, as it is, just like a fun fact, it's actually now also in Denmark illegal to invite people to like your page on Facebook, like through the invites button.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a mic drop. I didn't know.
I know, right?
That's crazy.
Another thing, you cannot call your freebie free. You cannot say it's free as long as you want an email address for it.
Yeah, that's in GDPR anyway. That's, if people are doing it right, they should know that here as well.
Exactly. But that has been like there before that, even before GDPR. So we kind of used to it. The GDPR also says that you have to make it super clear that people are subscribing to your list. That's, for me, again, it's just like pure ethical marketing anyways. So it's like having your integrity there when you do plan your marketing campaigns. And when you plan your marketing as a win-win situation for your audience as well as for you, they kind of like, first of all, you don't break any GDPR rules. Second of all, you actually have people who love hearing from you, whether they buy from you today or in half a year. Because here's the thing, we also need to think about, depending on what you're selling, how much it costs, where your audience is, like during their client journey, it takes several touch points. It takes time before they start to get to know you till they buy from you. I was last week I was on a conference about social media ads, where they actually said that Peugeot made this, like they actually tracked how many touch points and how long time it took for them to sell a car, and it took them a year. Obviously, if you're selling,
but sorry, I was just about to say, it took them a year, and that's with engagement, using, skilled people on a high ticket item. And people are underestimated. Sometimes people, I say people, businesses, solopreneurs, and so on, they kind of like think this stuff's like a magic bullet. It isn't. It really is about the nurture, isn't it? They kind of, you can get lead generation, is what I specialize in, but it's what you do with the lead generation and how you follow it up is the key. And that's with emails, with chatbots, whether it's a funnel, landing page, website, whatever you want to call it. And it's the key thing of actually how you follow it through. And not even if you're not following it through, it's how you present yourself as well. Because if you come across a bit spammy, then and you're just promote, you're definitely going to lose a lot of people. And so there's a lot of areas you've got to touch on and make sure are right, aren't you? And if you're right, if you're doing it ethical in a way, then you just carry on as you're doing. Definitely.
It's all about balance, really, like, because you don't want to only give value, because then people won't buy from you, and in the end you do need to sell, and people are out there who do need to know that you actually have an offer for them, as well as, it's, of course, if you're only sending sales emails, they will really quickly get tired of you. But for the topic in terms of like chatbots or emails or Instagram ads or anything else, LinkedIn ads, Google ads, they all are good. Like, the best combination is like a smart combination of all of those platforms, or some of those platforms. Because here's another thing that they figured out, that Peugeot figured out, that they needed around 450 touch points with their brand before a person bought. So they needed their message, like the brand, across 450 times for this one person to buy a car. Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, people, it's hard to educate people, but it's our job to do that. But sometimes you just got to let them do their thing and learn by the. I mean, I've seen people like, I do chatbots for people, but then some people want to do it themselves. Okay, go and do it yourself. But it's not going to be the enterprise level. Anyone can write an email, but not everyone can do true email marketing. anyone can make a chatbot as far as I'm concerned, but not everyone can do enterprise chatbots. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it with KPI. There's tagging. There's the whole, the different flows going into other flows, into sequences, into broadcast messages, into there's so much to it that people don't even know. And they just think it's just like a reply to another message and that's it. And yes, you can get away with that, but it doesn't give you that deep nurture that you need. And I see that in email marketing. And what you said about the ads conference that you went to, and that they did testing, and it was like, someone bought a car after a year. Well, that's a real high ticket item, but it's not that different to high level mentorship, for instance, in value, and there's a lot of people that have got high level mentorships and they want to sell and they want it done now and they don't get why it's not happening now. But you can make money on very low ticket stuff as well. I mean, I did Facebook ads for a gentleman in the property world, and he had a $3.99 ebook, and I think it was like about 8 weeks, we got over £15,000 in profit for him selling $3.99 ebooks. Literally just because I was doing targeted ads for him, for the Pegasus group, a guy called Nick, really nice guy, and that is targeted, marketing. But the truth is, he had to have a good business as well, and people had to connect to him. It's not just the ebook. There has to be a combination. It's not just the ads. I can be big-headed. I did a good job on the ads. I admit that. He had another company doing it before, wasn't getting any traction at all. So I know I did a good job on that. And the reality is, I wouldn't be honest and genuine and humble enough to say that he had a good brand. Even if he didn't realize it at the time, he had a good brand. So that helps. And I think it's just how you promote it and push it out there. And I think that's the thing with email marketing. And I think you probably agree, but you tell me otherwise. If you, I think at the end of the day, the brand has to match the message. So I presume when you're writing email copy and you're whichever language, you've got to find the voice of the company that you're writing it for. And to do that, you've got to get deep down. And that takes quite a depth of a consultation. It's a similar thing with chatbots. But, is that true with yourself?
Yeah, so usually I do work with personal brands that just have been like what people I attracted into my business. But of course you need to have a match between the audience and the brand. But if you have a strong brand and you actually know what it is, you have the right audience, it's more naturally, but sometimes you do need to fine tune it. So what I usually would do is that I would go back and look at the social media post of the person, look at their emails, even look at the conversation I'm having with them through email or Facebook to see how do they usually write, like how do they greet people, how do they write to me when they have to write me a message on email, just like a regular message. Because this is something that I can go ahead and use the same words in their emails so they actually sounds like them instead of sounding like somebody else. Because it needs to be clear. So sometimes I kind of feel like I have I have this personality disorder, because I have to write 3 emails. So I have to write my own post in the morning, then I have like for somebody else, and then a third email for somebody else. Then I feel like, okay, so my brain cannot handle more today. Like I need a cup of coffee or something like that.
Yeah, it kind of touches on my previous guest I had earlier today on the Mic Drop show, and it was a guy called Jay Dillian, a really fantastic guy. He's, turned over £50 million, 500 people he was employing, and he talked about the importance when he employs people that they can have different personas, and he calls it like acting, but different personas to sell, because different people need different voices to communicate with. And it's touching on very similar to the email-y stuff that you're on about, where you go in and find that persona, for the message to be thrown in, to be delivered in via email. It's powerful stuff, because that's not easy for people to get and do. And finding the right tone at the right, with the right amount of message without, spoiling it, is an expertise, isn't it?
It's a balance. It's a balance making it conversational and not having those like too much Phil words. Sometimes I'd say Danish words in the middle of the
No, that's cool. Don't worry. It's all good. I understand. Don't worry. Your English is way better than mine. Trust me. So, I mean, I would say that, you know, I've seen it with influencers where they've got other people blatantly posting for them because it's just not how they sound. And the danger of that is that it can almost erode their authority, you know, where someone's replying to them and someone thinks they're getting a personal message back and it's just so not them. But in this day and age, I mean, does it matter? I mean, I think it matters, but does it matter? Because some people, you know, blatantly haven't got time, so they're obviously leveraging it out with VAs or whoever it may be, you know. So, but you know, how important do you think it is to really strike that right message?
Well, I can just as well ask you, does personal connection matter these days and age?
Yeah.
You know, this is basically the question. And yeah, of course, it matters like nothing else. With a lot of smaller businesses popping up, a lot of solopreneurs, entrepreneurs out there, market is no longer monopolized like it was before by big brands that actually could afford big TV commercials. Now we have social media, we have Google, where you don't have to spend millions of dollars to actually do marketing and grow your business. So yeah, there are many more people out there, and kind of standing out with your personality is like the number one thing that can get you there. Even you can even see big brands trying to be more personal, trying to
I know.
Personality for them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so true.
Yeah. So yeah, another example was, again, going back to this conference, there was a person who created this like huge web shop from like nothing. And what they discovered is that when the owner herself was a model, they actually would sell much more product than if they actually hired models, because she would explain it in a personal way. So as she explained it, actually, she said like, so I was their virtual girlfriend who they could like ask for advice, who they could ask like, so the shirt, what size do you have? Because it was only one person and they could relate to her. And that's something they kind of discovered, kind of. They actually run ads and they figure out that the like pictures of her perform much better than pictures of models.
Yeah.
And when I have been following this web shop for a long time, because I had a fashion web shop myself at the time, and I knew they were growing, so I wanted to know what they're doing. And I kind of felt really weird that they would not even like steam the clothes. The clothes was all wrinkly and was like, that's so unprofessional. But you know what? It worked for them.
Yeah.
It really worked for them, because it was so down to earth. People like, you buy what you see instead of those glamorous modeling pictures.
That's becoming a pattern though, isn't it? It's not just in the conversation that, like with email and what you just mentioned about the model being the person themselves and creased clothing and so on, but it's actually people have they're not convinced by the gloss of the influencer, you know, if that makes sense. I mean, even on YouTube now, a lot of engagement is coming from very unedited, very sort of like raw, fly on the wall style, video content. And I think the more honest, the more less, glossed over messages in email as well as chat and other platforms, the more people connect than this kind of I am amazing, I am this, I am that, I am the guru. I think people are connecting more with that more human level. And you see it on a lot of levels. It's not just emails, video, you see it on audio, you see it even in the written word. There's a lot more of that happening now, where before it had to have a high quality edit of some sort, Have you noticed that?
Exactly. Yeah, I've noticed that so much. And that's also something I'm implementing in my own business. Whereas before I'm still doing that. I'm still doing like photo shoots with a photographer and lights and full face makeup, but also I'm doing just like some selfies once in a while, just to show that, hey, I'm a real person.
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, it shows personality as well. And my clients, they love that. My audience loves it. And this is what I get most engagement from.
Yeah.
Even though like a good picture, like good professional picture also will get engagement.
Yeah.
But if it's only the only thing, then it's what it is. I even heard, like I've read somewhere that if you put a couple of spelling mistakes in your emails,
Yes. Yeah.
conversion will actually increase.
Yeah, it's true. It's true because people have people love their opinion. People love opinion, and engagement can be grown through many ways. And spelling is another way where people have to let you know, by the way, and this is wrong, or and it just can create engagement. There's truth in that. That can actually help with delivery apparently as well, with email delivery, because it makes it more natural and more. I don't know how true that is. I'm not convinced, if I'm being honest, but I've read that before. I've never noticed that with email delivery, to be honest with you. I know there's spam words and stuff like that you've got to be careful of. Some of them are quite rare, aren't they? Not rare, wrong word. Some of them are quite surprising, I should say. Spam words. Free, how's that spammy?
Yeah.
Exclusive, how's that spammy? But unfortunately, a lot of people that have been spamming use a lot of these common words that you use in normal English, and you might be giving value away for free genuinely. And sadly, a lot of these words have become spammy and can make your emails end up in the junk, can't they?
Yeah, but then again, you should definitely give it a chance. I have had emails go through really fine with 40% opening rate with words free as well.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not only the words you're using that are triggering spell filters. It's also the former relationship with this person, as well as your overall relationship with the whole list.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is that they actually, so if the person have shown that they're opening your emails, they even like clicking on the links and even replying to your email, then their email system knows that, hey, you're good enough. Person is actually interested in getting to know you and like receiving your emails. And then what this system also does is that it sends the signal to all the other users of the system that are on your list, saying, hey, Mike is good enough. Like, he's sincere, he's not spamming, because I can see, let's say 50% of people on his list within my system, like Google Gmail, for example, they are actually opening 20% of his emails, they have replied and stuff like that. So the relationship with this person, like relationship with your list, is a huge factor. So it's
Absolutely.
People focus a lot on words, but there are so many other factors that can really just make it almost doesn't matter what you write.
Of course, yeah. Verified domain name, emails, and so on. Yeah, there's a hell of a lot. There's a hell of a lot. I think the thing is that a lot of people do not know about the words. That's why it's worth bringing up, because a lot of people do not know that words are classed as spammy words. Now they still can get in, but you had that with a few more spammy, you do a few more words that are class. I mean, free is probably one on the lower end on the sort of like naughty points, but it's still classed as a spammy word, which is, even by all the influencers and all the experts out there, these words are there on a list, and they're on that list as tricky words to use. But it's sometimes some of the communication, it's hard not to use some of these words, especially free, for goodness sake. I mean, it's hard not to use this stuff if you're trying to deliver value and content within, a series of emails. So you're right, absolutely. You should definitely, use these words and see how it goes. But yeah, I guess the trick is knowing how it's gone, and truly tracking that KPI, because even that's hit and miss. Tracking it. You can see open rates, and they're never exactly accurate either.
That's kind of sucks, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of sucks. Although I know Active Campaign, they have this, so when you're almost done with your email, you can actually see if you've passed their spam checks. Yeah. And that's helpful. They can actually tell you if you're using the wrong words. or whatever. Yeah, like the
They've gotten a
address.
way better. They've gotten a lot better with the flow chat and so on. Way great platform. Infusionsoft's another great one. There's another one that's launching really soon. I'm talking with them. It's going to be a killer in July. It's got a lot of features to it. So but there's so much out there at the moment, and I guess the truth is just deliver great content and nurture with your audience is the key. Definitely.
And honestly, the best result is coming from cross-platform promotion, meaning that you use multiple channels. So even if you're not going to be able to see straight through your emails that you sold from there, that might be because the person read a couple of your emails and then they were not there, like they were not in position to buy at that time. Let's say they on the bus, or they're busy, or they had the credit card in the other room. That happens to me sometimes, where I don't buy at the spot, but I make like intention of like, I'll buy it. And then next time they see your Facebook ad, because you can actually target people who are on your list with your Facebook ads. They see your Facebook ads, and this is where they actually just sitting there with a credit card, and they're like, oh, it's perfect, I'll buy it. But you cannot trace it directly to your email and say, so this is because they read this email. But there is some data showing that multiple touch points, they do increase conversion, which makes sense, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm always concerned about multiple touch points, because obviously you have to do it as a marketer, as a entrepreneur. There's a lot of overwhelm in the industry, and for people starting out. So I always say to people, just focus on one or two platforms and get used to it first, because the problem is if you don't do that, a lot of them will just end up like just crashing out and not doing anything in the end. That's the problem. So definitely true. Multimodal angles are definitely important. But I would say to people, don't feel overwhelmed. Start somewhere, definitely. So
yeah, with that said, I still have seen people selling only through email, or only through Facebook, or only through whatever. They just work better together. Like
yeah.
it's a no-brainer, because people also want to get information in different ways. Some people are not using Facebook for a lot of work stuff. They're not like reading posts on Facebook, but they're checking their email, like reading every single email you send them. So then again, so some people are just like skimming all the emails, but then like spend some time on Facebook or Instagram.
It's preference, isn't it? And time and place and so on. I mean, you're right. I mean, people are on LinkedIn and that aren't really engaging much on Facebook. They might have an account, but they're not engaging much. People might be into their emails. I think the thing with emails is like, it's very different medium, where you get the red dot and it says you must open this now. And I don't know, my wife, she's got like thousands of like emails that have been unread. She's just not in the world of like giving a crap. She'll sign up to something, it probably some sort of like something from a shop, and they'll just throw emails to her. But in business, you have to open these stuff up and find out what it's about, and filter out what's good and what's not. And the problem with that is I say not a problem, it's actually a benefit for email marketing, is that it becomes that almost second nature. That for me anyway, I don't know about for you, I have to not have any red dots saying how many emails I've ever got unread. I have to go through them. It just drives me mad if I don't go open them and clear it out by the day. I might not get them to them as quick as I'd like, but I have to go through them. And I had a big problem recently on G Suite. There was something wrong with the platform in the emails, and it screwed all my emails up. Literally screwed all my emails up, and that was just like a nightmare. Like I felt stranded. Like I couldn't get access to my emails, and people were sending me emails and they're bouncing back, and it's just like just realized how important they are. I mean, it's quite amazing how much we take them for granted these days, but they really are massively important. It's mad how you need this stuff. It's crazy.
And that's only one of the only platforms. Well, chatbots are also like giving this opportunity, but it's one of the only platforms that gives an opportunity to actually like really handcraft and structure this client journey in terms of what messages to deliver when, based on the action. You can do it. Yes, you can do it with Facebook ads, But first of all, it's not guaranteed that Facebook will like show it to everybody who did this action.
Yeah.
Depends, of course, how big your audience is. And second of all, you actually end up like, if your audience is too small for this action, then you cannot deliver those ads. And here you can have like 10 people on your list and still structure the heck out of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So would you say like there's emails that have been becoming successful in the past, they've used like controversy? Would you say that's a tactic? Like polarizing? Because you probably get these emails. People have tried all sorts of hacks, email hacks, I'll call them. It's like, hey, or forward. They do the forward sign at the beginning of the subject. Forward. Yeah. Hey.
RE or something like that.
Yeah. Reply RE, and then you've got the other ones like, oh my God, great big mistake. And then it's like, sorry guys, I didn't, I forgot to tell you about my special offer. Like, it's like, a lot of techniques are being used over the years. Do you think people are tired of that? Do you still think they're working these like controversial, we could call them controversial if you like, but to some people they are, because they probably get annoyed with it. But what's your opinion on it? I find it harmless personally, but
personally, I would never use those tactics.
Yeah.
So I do see a lot of people using them, and for me, usually it means that it must be working, I guess, or they're just like really bad at email marketing, like they don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
I would not do it because people are not stupid unless you have really stupid people on your list.
Yeah.
Who could not put 2 and 2 together that this is just how you did the headline. And what they do is, of course, they feel like, oh, I just need to have they probably have an email marketing person there saying like, we just need to get them like 100% opening rate.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's my point. And this is the danger. This is what I find a lot with clients. It's like they've got people in their business, and they know bits, but they're not, I don't think, specialists. And I'm not saying, I'm generalizing now here. I'm just talking about a little bit of experience from working with business. And then you've got you're right, someone in the company saying no, this and this and this way, and they might get open rates, but the follow through is dead because it's cheating and it doesn't.
Yeah, you trick people.
It's tricking. Yeah.
Trick people.
Exactly. So the long-term game's not really there. So you can fool a fool once, fool him twice. The fool gets cleverer. Cleverer. There's the fool talking.
And I actually know, like, at least I know what people I'm emailing to, even though it's quite a few, but I still actually know whether or not I'm just like on your list or we actually had a conversation together.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I actually do have memory capacity in my brain to remember who I had conversation with for the most time, I guess.
Yeah, even when you're using different personas. Yeah.
So they those opening lines, they kind of remind me of, I was recently in Egypt on vacation, and so what happens there, you'd have people with small kiosks who sell all kinds of things, and they're trying all the like so cheesy tactics to get
touting the touts. Yeah, that's exactly it. You're right. It's the email equivalent of that. And yeah, I mean, some people buy, most people get really put off.
Like really I would literally like. So we had some, at least actually at our hotel. So I actually had to like pass them every time I had to go to the pool and back to my room. And so the first day, one of them said like, because they were selling something, I don't remember, some paintings on papyrus or something like that. And he told me like, hey, could you please help me? I need your help because I'm trying to translate something to English or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I love helping people, even on my vacation, apparently. And I was like, sure, like I can spare 3 minutes to go ahead and help a person. Why not? And then once I got into the store, he's like, so let me tell you about my shop. So this is what I sell. I'm like, no, thank you. I turned around, left. It took me 2 seconds to get out of the store.
Yeah.
And honestly, like if he didn't do that and he just gave me my time, I would probably go into the store, look around, like see what I like, probably buy something. But because he tricked me this one time, I was like, hell no, because I cannot like trust whatever you're saying to me from now on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, it's true. And again, this comes down to the nurture aspect. It's a long game. It's a long game to do it properly. And it takes a lot of nurture. And what was surprising is, like, back in the day when my dad, when he was in his traditional business, his shop as a takeaway, you know, him and many small businesses were very, very, very happy. Well, I say not happy, they had no choice. The marketing medium was like the newspaper, a little small black and white area like that, or you could get half the page and it'd be like stupid amounts. It's like £600 or something like that. And then half the page was a lot more. And it would last about 2 weeks maximum in this place, maybe even a week. Can't quite remember, but it was a small amount. Yet these days, people have cheapened the quality and the reach in their mind, and they do take for granted in many ways the power and how cheap this is now to do, you know, and the power and the amount of reach you can get using these kind of systems and tools. There's many people in business now, small business, and I'm talking small business because this is, you know, large business are already doing this sort of stuff. There's hairdressers that aren't using this kind of stuff. This stuff is like, you know, it can completely transform their business, literally completely transform it. And yet they're not utilizing these kind of marketing techniques. Still to this day, you think it's standard procedure, but they're not. There's a lot of people, a lot of companies that are not doing that. You know, they're still doing the old traditional stuff in the paper. Yet, you know, someone charges, I don't know, Facebook ads to run ads on average is about £1,500 a month to run the ads, not the ad spend. And, you know, that's a lot of money to a lot of people. Yet the reach and the quality you can get, and if you can get like 15k profit, you know, this sort of stuff is the power of it all, you know. And it's not always, the KPI is not always just on the profit return on investment initially. There's a return on investment by reach. And the same as email marketing, when you're doing that touch nurturing email, then another email, then a bit of a gap, then another email, and that communication, the gentle communication. It's the same with like ads. You know, people might not have reacted, but you've been seen, and so you've been seen. You've been your business and your brand have been made. You've been made aware to other people. So that has a value, but people don't see it. You know, businesses don't see it initially. There's nothing specific that they can truly like grab their hands on that's tangible, that you can see it, but it grows and it can really help the brand. That's the hard part for us as marketers to teach, you know, because it's not always about the instant results. There's a lot more to it, isn't there?
Exactly. It takes time. Like a good funnel, sometimes we just strike gold right away and I'm like, yay, this is amazing, like from the first month. But sometimes it takes 3 months to actually fine-tune the funnel.
Yeah.
You know, because it's all about the messaging, the audience, and in the end, it's all about testing. The good thing about email marketing, though, that you don't like. Obviously, you do have to pay like your email marketing service provider. So either Campaign, Infusionsoft, or whatever you're using, you do have to pay for that, yes, but that doesn't depend on how many emails you send, how many messages you send. Whereas on Facebook, every time you need to create a message, like with Facebook ads, you need to like take money out of the pocket and say, so here's, I don't know, like $500, please get it out to 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Again, both things are good, but I think a lot of people, when they think about email marketing, they forget about this lifetime value of the like having this list.
Yeah.
And if you nourish it enough, you can sell like everything to your, like you can sell a lot through your list. Just like every time you have a new offer, if you have a list of people who are looking for properties, for example, in real estate, or a list of people who already bought your ebook, and you have this online course or one-on-one mentorship you want to sell now. And then again, like if you have this big product you're selling, and let's say you have 10, 20 people buying this like very high ticket offer, then your audience is like, then you can sell something lower, like lower price to them. So they actually can buy something from you. They might not be able to afford you at that time for this money. But once they do this smaller investment after the big launch, they will be much more likely to buy the big thing you're selling next.
Psychology, yeah, absolutely, yeah, definitely. And the thing is, with all this stuff, is like, you've got to keep the audience connected in one way or another, and there's always a win when you buy something that you get value at. And so lead magnets, a one-time offer, an upsell, although it's business, there's people that actually they enjoy doing that. They enjoy buying into these things. It's like shopping in the shops, so when there's an offer that they really connect with and the message is promoted in a proper way, it's what they want, that people want to do generally. So people have an urge to do that generally. That's what I found. So just want to say, what one thing would you say motivates a trigger point on an email blast? And would you say long form or short form emails? And I'll just explain that to the audience that are listening. Long form being a longer letter, a longer email, and short form is less words, so a shorter email. What do you think's working more at the moment? What are you seeing more? Because I've seen a change. I want to see if it's similar to what you're seeing at the moment.
Yeah. So what motivates scarcity is still a big sales point, because if people have forever to make a decision, they will take forever to make a decision.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
my wife when I asked her to marry me. No, I'm joking.
No, but then it might have, there are a lot of other things with, if she had forever to pick out the dress for your wedding, she would probably take forever,
Yeah.
So yeah, basically if they have forever, because our brains are so lazy, if we can just push that decision to tomorrow or next week or whatever, they'll do that. It's our brains working for us, because there's every single day we have to make a lot of decisions.
Yeah, definitely.
So scarcity, definitely, as long as not fake scarcity.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say people are they're not stupid anymore. Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
Yeah,
but a good way to do that. So let's say if you're launching something that has limiting spots, make it really clear that you have limiting spots. Make it clear if you have a waiting list for those spots. Make it clear if some of them are already gone. How fast did they go last time you launched this product or service? So there are a lot of ways to do it without being super sleazy and saying, hey, so you have to hurry because this closes tomorrow, unless it does close tomorrow. But really be transparent, instead of saying, hey, so last time it went, it was gone in 2 hours. If it was, awesome, perfect. If it wasn't, you know what, don't say that.
Yeah, no, stay in truth, definitely, absolutely.
Yeah, so that could also be scarcity with bonuses, or what else? Of course, if you're launching something in only a time, a specific time frame. So there are a lot of there are some course creators, online course creators here in Denmark, who don't sell courses all year long. They actually have opening when they you can buy this specific course, or the rest of the year you cannot buy it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's real scarcity. I have to do that with my I do a mastermind myself, and I do it in a unit near my house, right, literally, but near my house. And because there's only a certain amount of room you can fit, and there's 15 people that can fit in there, I can fit more, but I want it to be comfortable. I've only opened it up on Black Friday, and I'm going to open it up again, but I don't want it to be, and I'm teaching people the whole marketing, literally everything I know in marketing, whether it be chatbots, a lot, literally, social media, Facebook, that kind of stuff. Yet I could do it constantly. But I just want the quality to be there. So it has to be sort of certain times of the year and only for a limited time. That's for it to work for me. I could scale it and make it less quality, but I refuse to do that because I put a lot of time in that. And I know you're the same. You put a lot of effort with your clients, and it's like if I go on a Zoom call that's going to be an hour, I'll be on there for 3 hours. I'll give them more. And if they, even if they have to go, they know they can watch the replay. So that's just how I roll. And I can't help myself. I get a bit passionate, so I just go further, because I think there's so much to learn. It's a year mentorship, but it's still not enough time, believe it or not. It's just crazy. But I want people to get what they need to get out of it, because everyone's got different things that they need to get out of, depending on their business. But, you know, in terms of like the email stuff that we mentioned, I was asking you like about the long form and short form. I've noticed a pattern where short form, and it might not be, it might be a pattern that's a coincidental, but there seems to be almost like people have got less concentration. They're getting less. I can't even get my words out. There's less an ability of being able to concentrate, just like I'm talking now, a lack of ability to concentrate and to get my words out. They're converting more on short form emails. Have you noticed that? So not as bulky, not long ones.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Again, you might see that they convert more on short-term emails, like the conversion, like the click-through rate. And if you even like track sales, the sales are higher. But maybe they're only doing that because they read this long-form email just a few days before, you know. I hate coming back all the time to this conference, but it was really good. So they had like this comic post about that they could see the most, they had most conversion through Google Ads or something like that. And so they were saying, okay, so let's move whole our budget to only Google Ads because this is where we can see we're making most money.
Yeah.
So this is the same as saying like, okay, let's only write short form content. And here's the thing. First of all, a lot of people do not know how to structure long form content. And this is why it's not performing well. Yes, people are super distracted. So you need to also to make it super, super easy for people who just skim.
Yes.
To know what your email is about. Some people are going to read it from A to Z, like from A to B, you know, like all the way through every single word. But there are also a big chunk of people who are only going to read like, okay, so Mike, what do you actually want me to know this? Like, what's your point? Get to the point right now.
I think you're spot on with the structure. I think you're right. There's probably a lot of truth in that. You know, where the long form could always be structured better. But I do think people's concentration is getting lower and lower and lower and lower as you know, as technology gets more you know, advanced. It seems to be a common theme. So I guess that still can be solved by breaking down long form and giving almost summary type titles to each paragraph that you break it up. It's still long form, but it's just breaking it up so someone can just skim, boom, 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 boom. So yeah, no, that's quite interesting. So I just wanted to get your spin on that, because I know there's a lot of talk about it at the minute, and it just seems to be that a lot of people are talking about the short form, short messages are getting to the point quicker because people are seeing past the stories and the long form stuff, if that makes sense. I don't know. I think there's a good mix to use, to be honest with you. But yeah, I just thought I'll throw that one out, you as the email marketing expert.
I mean, it's really difficult sometimes to actually create valuable content super, super short, right? So you do need stories. People relate better to the stories. There's like multiple research that shows stories, they actually sell much better than tags. So basically, if you write some super, super tips on how to do something, then you say, hey, buy here, or you write about your client who created these results through this, or your personal experience, that would actually be much better than tips. Like there are some people, I usually do a really good mixture of both things.
Right. Yeah, I just took my headphones off because I think my daughter was knocking on the door and I wanted to hear it. So it's got my headphones on. She probably thinks I'm sat in here quietly. So I thought I'd take them off so she can hear I'm talking and I'm in an interview. So there you go. It's at least as one of us has got headphones on, we won't get feedback. That's the key thing. But yeah, I mean, that's brilliant. I got another quick question for you before we sort of wrap it up, because it's been an hour. You know, with you, how would you say, what would be the best advice you could give someone starting off with email marketing? They maybe want to try it themselves. They haven't got the budget to hire someone. What would you say? What would be the best bit of advice? Maybe if you could give them 3 or 4 tips, what would those tips be for someone just starting off in their marketing campaign?
Yeah. So obviously the first tip will be grow your list.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you don't have anybody try to, then you kind of like, and yes, some people, including me, say size doesn't really matter. That's true. Like you can sell a lot to a list of 200, 300 people. But let's face it, if your conversion rates are around 6%,
Yeah.
it's much more fun to have 10,000 people than 200 people on your
Yeah,
list.
absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, if it's 10,000 right people, like people who are actually interested, your core audience, all these things. Then I would say just start writing. Pick out a day in a calendar, write 2 emails so you can send at least every second week, so you can get people engaged with you.
Yeah.
The third one will be, once you have done it for a couple of months, you actually have a pretty good emails, like some emails you have tested what works, what doesn't. And you can actually repurpose those emails as your welcoming sequence, maybe adding some more things to it, but then again, like then repurpose. And number 4 is join my community
Absolutely.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Join in. Yeah, definitely pitch away. Seriously. Yeah.
No, seriously.
Contact Stasja for email marketing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because this is where you can get my time, my advice for absolutely free. I do weekly Q&A where we take topics like how you can sell without being salesy, how to actually start writing those emails when you have this writing blocks.
Yeah.
So the community is called Email Marketing Mastery. Get clients in your sleep. Because this is basically what I love about email. Like the number one thing I love about email is that you can set it all up, put it all on automation, and then you do not need to show up every single day like you really have to do with a lot of other things like marketing materials.
I don't know if you're in my group, Effusive Entrepreneur Circle, but if you're not, I'll get you in there as an email marketing expert within the group, because it's a business marketing group. It'd be nice to get someone like yourself on board. That'd be nice if you want to be part of that.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I actually don't think I am right now, to be honest.
Okay, I'll throw the link into you.
Fix that.
But I just want to say a massive thank you for coming to Mic Drops Up Close. It's been a pleasure having you with us, Stasja. And obviously, you know, we've known each other, but we haven't had much communication recently. I've been absolutely ridiculously busy. It's been crazy, and I know you have as well. But thank you again. Really appreciate your time. Welcome, and thank you again. Take care.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So we're still live. Obviously, I still need a little pause there. I'm going to cancel it now from